This video is on reactive or postprandial hypoglycemia. Now, what is that? Hypoglycemia, the way I'm talking about it here, is reactive. After you eat, when you eat something, your pancreas overproduces insulin and you feel jittery, shaky. You want to sit down. You don't feel satisfied after your meal. Instead, you feel like you've teased yourself. So you have a lot of insulin, too much, flowing through your body, and it's almost as if you're overly anxious. Your body's producing a lot of norepinephrine, so you feel like you've nearly been in a fight and you're burning off adrenaline. This is a situation that is becoming, I would say, more common, not on OMAD, but just with a lot of people in general, and I have gotten questions about it, and I thought to do a video about it in light of also preparing to do a series on diabetics, OMAD for diabetics. So consider this the first part. So that's what hypoglycemia is. It is an overreaction of the pancreas to producing too much insulin when you eat your meal. Now, this is not talking about hypoglycemia that diabetics experience from taking too much medication. The solution there is going to be to get off the meds or reduce them until you can figure them out better, or take a different med if that's your situation. But and usually, of course, the vast majority of medication people don't really need. They can just adjust their diet and be fine. But that's another topic. So it is not always prediabetes. The majority of the time, this is an indicator of prediabetes, about 70+%. If you have been fine and all of a sudden you're going to eat your OMAD meal and you start getting the shakes about 20 minutes after, 2 hours after the meal, you feel dizzy, you feel clammy, you feel sweaty or hot, you feel jittery, you feel like you have an inner weakness inside of your chest and behind your sternum, you just feel fluttery and you can't explain why, you feel bad. Maybe your learning process goes to hell. You sit there and you know you should know how to do something, but you can't figure out how to do it. If that's the case, that is reactive hypoglycemia. And it's usually a bad sign, but not always. So the first thing is prediabetes. That is the very earliest stage of prediabetes a lot of the time. And the reason we know that is because your pancreas is losing its ability to control how much insulin it needs to disperse. It's like a window unit air conditioner where it starts to, the bearings in there come loose, so it starts to squeal. I had a series of rent houses, and I brought the repairman in and I said, "Can you fix this? It's squealing, this window unit that we had." And he said, "No, there's no point. You can go for about $200 just buy a new unit because it's fixing to go out." Well, that's the way it is with reactive hypoglycemia and your pancreas. It's fixing to go out. It's like, to make a sci-fi analogy, it's like T-1000 in Terminator 2, where at the end of the movie he's been frozen, he's been blown up, he's starting to lose control of what he copies. So when he touches something, his hand morphs to the shape of it and he has to pull it back. And if you saw the director's cut of T2, you can observe that, but you can also see it in the regular movie, just by way of a silly analogy. Now, it's not always diabetes, so it is possible to have a temporary hypoglycemia. By that I mean you damaged your pancreas somehow by eating too much. This can happen, it can happen at any age, by the way. You do not have to be old or young. I first started to struggle with hypoglycemia when I was 19 because I was a serious binger and I would go eating nothing, and then suddenly I would bombard myself with bags of cake mix and burritos and pizza. And my body decided it did not like that, and I would have to lay down and just take long, long naps because I couldn't function because of the eating disorder that I had. So it can happen just out of temporary damage because you damaged yourself. You ate too much too fast, and you damaged in what the pancreas is trying to swell up to release more insulin to keep your blood sugar under control, but as a result, it is overtaxed. If that's the case, it will take a few months to correct, but you can do this. I also see hypoglycemia come from too much, like smoothies and stuff like this, also from post-weight loss surgery. a lot of people who have had lap band or any type of procedure contact me, and they say, ever since about 6 months or a year after my weight loss, I'm now unable to, every time I eat something I get hypoglycemia. It does something to the system. It shocks the system. Those are the main causes. Again, if it's not medication from diabetes, then it's probably one of those causes. Now, on rare occasions, it can be a lymphoma, and that is a tumor pushing on the pancreas that's causing it to overreact. So if your reactive hypoglycemia comes no matter if you eat protein or carbs, it doesn't matter what you eat, and you're always getting a flood of insulin, then that comes possibly from a pancreatic tumor, which may have to be surgically removed or removed with other treatments. Sometimes the tumor is cancerous and sometimes it is not. You may recall Patrick Swayze died of pancreatic cancer, and it is a growing type of cancer. But anyway, that is the scoop on why you get it. That's why you get a reactive hypoglycemia. You don't get it for really any other reason, but let's look again at pre-diabetic hypoglycemia. A lot of people, they run to the doctor. They freak out because they watch all these videos on YouTube about signs that you're becoming diabetic. And most of them are pretty nonsense, by the way. You're not. Here's the way you really know if yours is pre-diabetic hypoglycemia. One, you start to get tired after your meal. If you're eating your meal and you're getting tired, you're getting really unreasonably sleepy, and you've just had a plate of food that's average carb, not necessarily pure carb, that is an indication of pre-diabetes, because that's insulin resistance. That's your body saying, no, 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 we can't use this. We can't use these calories. We can't use this, so we're going to block you. And the insulin is circulating in your body, and you get tired. That said, it's still possible to have a normal big meal that's too big for you and for you to be tired, because when your insulin goes up, your orexin production in your brain, your body sedates you so that you're not out hunting or doing something that requires a lot of activity so that you can digest your food. The blood goes to your stomach so that you can more efficiently, that you want that to happen. But if it's unreasonable and you are unlivably tired after you eat your meal, and you are not just adjusting, like within the first month or 2 weeks of OMAD, then you probably almost certainly have some insulin resistance going on. Now, don't bother going to the doctor, because the doctor is going to tell you that your blood levels are fine. It's your body blocking insulin. The problem is it's going to wear out your pancreas. It's going to wear it out, and then eventually you're going to go through a period of, in about 5 years' time, you're going to get really thirsty. And you're going to be urinating a lot. You're going to be thirsty and urinating a lot. That's when you finally have transitioned into diabetes, and that's no good. But it won't come. You can always treat that. You can always treat that. You can treat that the same way all fasting treats diabetes. But the real test that you can get is called the fasting insulin test, and that's where they will look at your body and see how much insulin is flushing around in there in your blood. And if it is too high, that's why you are having these hypoglycemic episodes, because you have too much insulin. How do you get them? As you age, your fat stores insulin, and it starts to easily produce too much. So you need to lose usually more weight. The other sign that you have hypoglycemia leading to diabetes is that you're losing muscle at an unusual rate and maintaining fat. So your body looks more and more pudgy all the time, and you're losing muscle as you age. Of course, some muscle loss when you age is normal, but if you're losing a lot and you're starting to notice, and especially, listen to this, if you're getting calf cramps, if you're getting Charlie horses nearly every night, and you seem to have trouble with liquids, that's a huge, huge indicator that you are in the pre-diabetic stages, and you need to manage it. Okay, so I've given you a way long intro to this to prime you. And one more thing, thyroid issues like hyperthyroid and sometimes hypothyroid can produce blood sugar issues. So if you don't have thyroid issues, you need to check. But if you know you don't, our family history has a lot. And we have to watch our thyroid. I have to watch my thyroid because my mother at my age got most people in our family have a lot of thyroid trouble. So it's something I have to watch. All right, we're done. So how do you correct hypoglycemia? Here's the magic. Here's the magic points. I have 5 of them. Number 1, move your mealtime to when it is best for your body. Now, here's what most of the YouTube is not saying. You're going to find that reactive hypoglycemia is not always reactive. It goes to a certain time of day. In my case, on the rare occasions that I still struggle from it, it is around 5 to 6 p.m. It's as if my rhythmic cycle of being awake in that stage when I'm very busy at work it seems to come to a hit. So if I eat my meal at 3 p.m. or noon rather, I may notice a slight lull in blood sugar around 5 p.m. Well, the solution there is to move your mealtime to when your lowest point would be, or just before it. So if it's 5 or 6 p.m. for you, you would eat your meal at about 4 p.m. or later. And you're going to find that that simple move of your mealtime is going to help you, because you're going to find that your hypoglycemia, even if it shows back up on a horrible day, for some reason it's not as bad because your body has adjusted based on how long you've been awake. So that's a big, big help, even if you have major hypoglycemia. And of course, some people have barely notice it at all, and they have it a lot. By the way, your blood sugar is low when it is under 70. It should not be 68 or 70 or lower is too low. 40 is you're going to pass out. And one word of caution on blood sugars, if you are hypoglycemic and you are beginning OMAD, you should not push past the symptoms, because what's going to happen is your body's going to adjust to you pushing past low blood sugar when you have a 45 blood sugar, and you're going to end up fainting if you're driving, if something's going to happen. If it's severe enough, if after the first 2 weeks of adjusting you don't adjust, you need to follow these tips and understand that it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for you. So move your mealtime, number 1. Number 2, eat slow-acting foods like raw oats, wild rice, and red potatoes. Quinoa and yellow squash are also honorable mentions on this list. Strawberries and blueberries by way of fruits. Slow-acting, the secret, folks, is raw oatmeal. We're not talking minute oats. We're talking steel-cut, hardcore oatmeal. Get it and don't wash it. Don't do anything with it. Everybody on the internet is freaking out saying, don't eat oatmeal. No, this simple solution will probably cure your hypoglycemia, or if not, treat it very well. Just take a bowl, about a half cup, raw and dry, add in a little bit of peanut butter and a little bit of honey. Stir it as best you can so that it has some taste, or eat it straight. You don't probably want to eat more than half a cup. Do that once a day, and even in the most severe cases, you will notice that that is very, very effective. I can't stress that enough. Wild rice, red skinned potatoes. I don't know why, but these are slow release carbs, and they're much better for some reason for hypoglycemia than other foods. I've experienced this myself, and I've worked with people who have really bad hypoglycemia, and there is a definite help here. One other thing, avoid low-carb approaches to treating hypoglycemia, because they only work temporarily. One of the worst things doctors do is they say eat 5 small meals a day of mostly protein. You're putting a Band-Aid on the problem. Low-carb diets are not good for hypoglycemia because they're elongating or stretching out the problem, so you don't want to do that. What you want is a high-carb approach that is slow release. Raw oats are the slowest release around. Wild rice, like the things I mentioned, broccoli also, quinoa and yellow squash, those are the best things for it. Strawberries and blueberries, I'm giving you time-tested knowledge here. This is legit. This is totally legit. Okay, number 3, monitor your activity levels before and after eating. Now, normally I tell everyone who's doing OMAD for weight loss, don't exercise and don't strain your body, because you're going to produce cortisol and you're going to gain weight or hold on to the weight you have. Here's the exception. If you are a bad reactive hypoglycemic, I encourage you to get about 20 to 30 minutes of moderate to high intensity exercise about an hour before you eat. The reason is you're going to make your insulin resistance. This is particularly true, by the way, if you find that you're getting tired after meals. If you're developing insulin resistance, so you need to fight it. The way you fight it is you make your cells hungry again. Go for a long brisk walk or a slight jog if you're in shape enough to do that, or a bike riding session that is low impact, or a weight training session. This is where strength training comes in. As much as you are able, do some just 20 to 30 minutes of very moderate to severe intensity so that you can make your cells hungry again. Of course, I caution, this is only if you need to do this for the sake of your insulin sensitivity. It is the tragedy of our times that everyone is becoming close to, if not insulin resistant, because of the situation with our sad diet, completely being bombarded with sugar and the body saying, no, no, I don't want any more. Number 4, supplement with chromium bicarbonate, potassium, and magnesium. Those are the 3 golden supplements that actually anyone can take during fasting, but much more if you are hypoglycemic, because chromium bicarbonate will raise your blood sugar and lower it depending on which you have trouble with. Some people, their sugar gets really high and then really low. So they have pre-diabetic numbers after they eat, and then they drop to very low. Well, chromium bicarbonate has been tested, and it is excellent for this. So that is chromium bicarbonate, potassium, and magnesium. You take those with the meal, and you're going to find that your body is going to handle, once you're consistent with it, it's going to handle sugar loads much more consistently. Number 5, drink dandelion tea. You can drink it with your regular tea if it's not, or you can have it by itself, just a cup of warm dandelion tea, let it steep 10 minutes. After you, don't bring it to a boil, bring it real close. You don't want to cook off all the benefits, and then have that daily for the first week or 2, and then try to keep that as a part of your routine depending on how you progress. So follow those 5 things, and you're going to either beat or treat easily your hypoglycemia. And I know people, I'm in touch with people now who suffer from it very badly. Listen, even if you just do something like bring in the raw oats or change your meal time or bring in something like chromium bicarbonate, you're gonna feel much better. And you're going to be on top of the situation with prediabetes. If it's something you have, by the way, it is the tragedy of today that we struggle with these things. If you live long enough, most people are going to become insulin resistant if your diet is not in control. So what you're doing here is you're taking an emergency measure, basically, to get back in control. So your OMAD meal can be far more effective because you've kicked it into high gear and you're going to take care of this. So follow these 5 principles and you're going to see great success.